everybody. Welcome to another lovely Wednesday here on Get It Got It Good. I am your host, Naja Wilhite, and today we are going to talk about all of your real estate needs, questions, answers, because we have Reggie Butler on the show with us today. But before I go into that, I want to thank my sponsors as always. I would love to thank Dance Solutions, Youth Outreach, One Man Sharpens Another, and of course Esther, which is starting this summer 2019. And more information about that will be out soon. But without further ado, Reggie.
Thank you for having me on. First, giving honor to God. Thank WBGR. It's a pleasure to be on here. Again, thank you for having me on your show. Just a little bit about myself. I've been in the business for 17 years now. I've been with multiple brokerages. I started my own, which was called Envision Realty 7 years ago. And then I got to a point where I had to decide, what was I trying to do with myself? And I wanted to go to that next level. So I ended up buying a franchise with Century 21. So now we're called Century 21 Envision. We're licensed in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And we have a relentless attitude. But more importantly, what separates us from everybody is our community service. We believe in relationships. And we want to, in order to be in the community, you have to serve the community.
Exactly. And a lot of people go, Naja, I'm a realtor, this is a realtor, whatever's a realtor. But what's the difference? I am all about community. As always, you guys, I love to be in community. I love to do things in community. And I love people and businesses who do things to give back to the community. And I know there's a lot of realtors, right?
Yeah.
And I know that field is very competitive.
Right.
So in that field where there's so much competition, you said you have to be relentless. Absolutely.
Right.
But then there's also this part of marketing, there's the part of branding and getting your name in front of the right people. So how do you go about doing that and starting from scratch to getting big enough to be able to partner with Century?
Right. Well, the thing is that everybody has their niche. Okay, what works for me may not work for somebody else.
Absolutely.
Okay, so for me, what works is relationship. I'm a people's person like yourself,
Yes.
so I'm around a lot of people. And if you attract people, and then you're a technician on top of that, where you're informing people, you're the lightning rod. A coach told me one time, you can have a drink, but you got to be the straw that stirs that drink to make it complete. So all of that is very, very important. Now, as far as marketing is concerned, if you're not good with people, because some people just aren't, then there's other things you can do. There's farming, there's social media, there are a ton of other things you can do to separate yourself. But the most important thing is consistency and never giving up. That is the most important thing.
So you mentioned farming. Everybody may not know what that is. So could you explain that?
Farming is basically taking areas or an area and letting them know who you are. Okay, like say for example, I may take a subdivision like Winshire Estates in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and send out postcards to them, letting them know who I am and my services, as well as get engaged with their HOA to find out what's going on with the property or the subdivision itself. So it's basically being a technician or neighborhood expert.
Okay.
That is what farming is. And there's so many different ways that you can do it. Everybody has their own techniques, but what works for you. And the thing is your return of investment.
So you have to know yourself. And a lot of times people say, I don't like a job. I want to get out. I want to be independent. And so they will go into business for themselves, maybe as a realtor, but they don't understand anything about business or what that takes. And so there's different techniques. So you got to understand who you are as an individual and what your strengths are. So there's different techniques. And you mentioned farming and you mentioned being a people person. Everybody's not a people person.
Correct.
You can get better though, you guys.
Yes, exactly.
Read,
Yes,
understand, talk to
yes,
people.
yes.
You got to work on it. Consistency.
Yes.
So, because you're a people person, do you find that you go out into the neighborhoods and talk to people more? Do you do networking events? What are some ideas for people persons to do?
Well, the thing is, I do everything. Okay, as far as social media, as far as going out and meeting people in the communities, as far as networking events. And, I go to random places and just meet people. If I'm going to farm an area, now people want to stay in restaurants near home. So if I'm going to farm an area, I'm going to go to those local restaurants and become a part of the area. So
become a familiar
yes,
face.
Exactly. So if that is the case, then that's what I do, when I'm farming certain areas. But my goal, I challenged my agents. I told them, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I need you this week to meet 20 people that you didn't meet and hand out your cards.
We call it prospecting, you
exactly,
guys.
Absolutely.
A lot of people shy away from this stuff, but
Yes.
this is business. It's
Yes.
not, MLM. It's not, network marketing. It's just networking in general, and it goes across business lines.
And the next
right?
person you meet is your next opportunity.
Exactly.
So if you don't meet somebody new, then you won't have an opportunity to gain more business and to also establish your brand. That is a very big thing. And you, because you're an independent contractor as a real estate agent, you're establishing your own brand. It doesn't matter who you're over; they're looking at you as a person.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you have to be an expert.
You are self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're an independent contractor.
Correct.
But being self-employed, you have to work yourself like a business. You have to schedule your time. You have to think about what you're going to say. You have to do research. You have to continually develop your craft, your technician, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
And we both are business people.
Amen.
Right? So do you only rely on real estate? Do you suggest that, or do you suggest that people have their hands in multiple streams of income?
Well, I'll say this: I go with my passion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my passion.
Follow your bliss.
Exactly. So I'm an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So not only do I do real estate, I have a vending business and everything, but real estate is still my passion.
Mm-hmm.
So as Magic Johnson said, if you want to be rich, go to a job. If you want to be wealthy, you have multiple streams of income. Mm-hmm. So to me, I am an entrepreneur as well as yourself. Mm-hmm. So, and we have kids, so we have to make sure that we provide. But Century 21 Envision is my baby, and soon it should be a grown adult. Okay.
See, most people go to a job to get rich. That's not happening no more these days. Most people are paycheck to paycheck, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
So knowing that people are paycheck to paycheck, and a lot of people are struggling financially, how would they then go about preparing to buy a house, because they want that asset, they want to build that foundation? What would you say to them?
Well, real estate is a foundation for most millionaires anyway. So home ownership is very, very important. And with that being said, you need to find out about the money. Okay, what programs are there for you? There are a lot of programs that are within the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area that are there for homeowners, okay, especially first-time homeowners.
Yes.
That is very, very important.
You're considered a first-time homeowner after 3 years?
Yes, I think after 3.5 years.
3.5?
Yeah.
So you can keep getting that benefit, you guys.
Absolutely.
Or upgrade. What is that called? When you go from a smaller and you trade it in and get a bigger, what is that called?
Upgrade.
I mean, yeah, upgrade you. But there's like some tax terminology for it, and I cannot think of it right now. I'm going to get that for you guys, because that's really important. Okay, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah, so with that being said, you have to make sure the money is right. So there's a couple lenders that we use, because even though that they don't like that we use different ones, but one lender can't suffice all of the people. So we are here to bring resources. As a realtor, the client trusts you on everything. So if by that being said, they trust you with the people that you recommend. So we use people like Sandy Springs with Rod Moody and James Johnson. We use Wells Fargo with Lee Michaels. And we also use NFM Lending with Nick Matino. Those are three of our main lenders that we use in order to service our clients.
So what would they be looking for? So for somebody who's thinking about buying a house, should they look at their, credit report? Should they know, how much income they bring in? Is it a 30% ratio to, all of those questions?
Well, the thing is, give it to the professionals, okay? So I would suggest come to us, okay, and we'll put you with one of those lenders. Once you get with one of those lenders, then they can give you a game plan on what you need to do. Like, say, for example, if that the income ratio is too high, they give you a plan and say, hey, you need to take this down, because with a credit card, anything over 30% affects your score.
Yes.
With that being said, they may say lower the balance on these two credit cards, and then your credit score will go up.
So in other words, 30%, meaning if your credit limit is $100,
correct,
and you are over $30, then your score will begin to drop, because your debt to income on that particular asset. So that's what that means. So if you hand it to a lender, a lot of people are saying, okay, I'm trying to improve my credit score. If I hand it to a lender for them to pull it, is that a soft pull? Meaning, does that affect your credit score, or is it a hard pull?
Well, it depends on the lender. Sometimes they'll talk to the client and they'll gauge whether they need to pull their credit or not.
Okay.
If they know what they have and they know that it's going to affect it, they'll say, hey, look, why don't you, get some of your balances down, and then let's look at doing it in another 2 or 3 months.
Okay, so here's the other thing. So I go to this lender, right? I have all of the things they say, get my balances down.
Right.
What do you then suggest for somebody who's told to go take a plan of action and know nothing about finances, know nothing about how to get their balances down, because we weren't taught personal finances in school?
Well, we have financial planners that we associate with, so I would definitely put them in touch with one of our financial planners, because when we do home buyer seminars, and we have done them live on Facebook, we do it as a committee. So I'm the moderator, like you, and we have a home inspector, a insurance person, we have a lender, we have a title company, and we also have a financial advisor. So
all the things you'll need.
Exactly. In buying a house, but it's not just buying a house, as you said earlier, it's keeping a house. That is very, very important.
So let's go back to 2008. Because we have to address 2008, you guys, the bubble burst, because a lot of people in the industry, and when we say in the industry, it's everything associated with buying a house. All of the things he just listed, right? What would you suggest to a home buyer today to make sure, regardless of what happens, they don't wind up upside down and wind up losing their house?
Well, be honest with yourself with your finances. That is the most important thing. We had a lot of risky loans in. And
no doc
loans,
meaning that loans. You don't have to prove that you are who you say you are, that you make what you say you make.
Stated loans, everything. The most popular loan now, or the 2 most popular, is FHA and VA loans. Okay, FHA is a government-funded, insured loan that you have to put 3.5% down. VA loan is definitely for veterans, and it's a 100% loan. Okay, so those are the 2 more popular loans. But then you have a conventional loan, and you have the 5-in-1 arm. But it just depends on your situation, and that's why I say take it to the professionals so they can help you decide. We don't make decisions; we give information for you to make a sound decision.
Okay, so it's like, here are your options. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
So, if you don't know how to decipher those options and what may work best for you, then you definitely need to talk to somebody in the financial field to help you understand those things.
Correct.
Right? So, what is an ARM?
An ARM is an adjustable rate mortgage. Okay, and what happens is there's a 3-in-1 arm, there's a 5-in-1 arm, and there's a 7-in-1 arm. Now you make me wear another hat because I don't like talking about lending. I like to keep it to the real estate, but I am going to answer because I know.
Well, because a lot of times when people want to buy a house, it's about the money and how can they get it. And so if they can get the money right, they can get the house.
And no, that's very important because, like, for example, in most people's cases, their salary goes up every year. Okay, so you might have
we can disagree on that. Okay, yeah.
Well,
we go up by what, 3%? 3% cost of living increases 3% every year, guys. So guess what?
And if you're working for the government, you're not even getting that now. So,
but we won't go there.
But
I'll behave.
Yeah, no. But anyway, with a 3-in-1 and 5-in-1 arm, what happens is they give you a lower payment, but at that 3-year mark or that 5-year mark, then that interest rate goes up.
It balloons.
Not necessarily balloons, it goes up. We're not talking about them old loans that balloon and you had to make a payment and then you had to refinance before.
So it starts low.
It starts
and I just like using low numbers just because. So it starts at $1,000.
Well, let's talk about the interest rate. The interest rate may start at 3.9.
Okay.
And then after 3 years, it may go to 4.2. But it has a cap on it. Okay. So it's not like the other loans. That's why we got in that situation that we did back in 2008. Yeah, so it does have a cap on it. It's not going to continue to go up.
Okay, so let's go back to real estate. I'll be nice.
Okay, thank you.
So, if you go back to real estate and you're talking strictly on, I'm pre-qualified, which is better to do first anyway, you guys.
Right.
I'm pre-qualified, and how do I then go about which neighborhoods? If they all look the same, they're all in suburbia or in the city or wherever you want to live at, how do you go and decipher what may fit best?
Well, no, all of them don't look the same because they're not priced the same. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So different zip codes have different prices for those same houses.
Right. Different geographical areas have different prices. Like, for example, because of Bowie taxes, they're higher than what would be in Upper Marlboro. So, so it depends on the demographics of where it's at. Of course, closer to the city is usually more expensive. And it depends on the county also. So with that being said, I usually ask the client, what do you want? Okay, what kind of house do you want? And it depends on what their price range is. Now we cannot. It's illegal to steer them one way or the other. But usually most clients have an idea of where they want to live at, according to where they work, what kind of activities they have, and so forth. Like some people want to live in Bowie, near the Bowie Town Center. Then other people want to live down in D.C. near Brookland because they want to be near a lot of the restaurants and be in the city. So it just depends on the client. Once they identify or at least give me an idea, as well as the specs of the home, where they want 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, detached garage or attached garage, a backyard or no yard. It just depends on the person and the client to decide, whether the information that I give them.
So I'm always thinking about school zones because I'm a mom, you're a dad, right?
Absolutely.
And so have you, from your years of experience, realized the better school districts?
Yes, absolutely. And what happens is that usually when I have usually it's a married couple with kids, I actually go and do the research on the ratings of the schools, okay, depending on what area that they identify. Because in some areas, in Montgomery County and Arundel County have better rating schools than they may have in Prince George's and Charles County. So with that being said, that's what may attract them, so they don't have to pay money to send their kids to private school.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very important.
So I live in Hoco, Howard County, and so Howard County has been known to have some of the best schools in the country.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And then if you can get that privately funded education for free,
absolutely,
you can then go and spend more money on the house because you're going to pay for that.
Yes, absolutely. And private school is very expensive.
It is.
Yeah, it's very expensive. Yeah, and again, it depends on the school, but I tell people all the time, it depends on the parents' involvement. That is very important when it comes to schools, because you have some schools that have not so good ratings, but they have good teachers. It just depends on whether you're involved in your kid's life. But I don't want to get on parenting either.
We'll behave. So there's a lot of things to consider. So if you gave just like a brief overview, must-do checklist, what would be like first, all the way up to, closing? Okay,
well, first thing, as we stated before, is to get pre-qualified. You can't go out and look for a house unless you know how much you are qualified to buy.
So what would you have to take with you in order to get pre-qualified? What are some of the documents?
Okay, the documents that you would take is usually 2 or 3 pay stubs, as well as 2 years of taxes, and they will run your credit report. After that, they put everything together, put it in the system, and look at your debt to income ratio, and then they'll say, okay, you're pre-approved at $300,000.
So now we're pre-qualified. What's next?
Next thing is I will talk to them and find out, hey, what do you want? What area do you want to live in? And what are the specs? So then we sit down, we talk about that, and then I would start sending them listings to view. Now, most of the listings, today they carry anywhere between 10 and 30 pictures. And, with the now iBuyers, they're very informed of what's going on. The internet is great because, it helps them be more informed about the process. But then, as the realtor and the broker, we have to be informed too, because people come in and they have all this knowledge and
ideas.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be able to answer those questions and give them good answers.
Okay, so now you give them options, and then you go and do viewings.
Right, we go and do viewings, and let's say that they find one that they like. So then I sit down and I talk to them again, and we sit down and talk about a contract proposal. Usually what I do is what's called a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis of the houses that have sold. But not only ones that are sold, the ones that are active too.
So comps. I call them comps.
Yeah, comps, exactly. But I just want to pronounce it out for you.
Because if you had said comps, I would be like, so what is a comp?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I wanted to spell it out for them. So after that, then we decide on, I make a recommendation. Again, all I give is information, and then the client tells me, hey, I want to put a contract on a house for this price, okay? Now, the market right now pretty much dictates that what's called closing costs. Closing costs is in order for the deal to get from contract to closing, okay? And there's a cost with that. So with that, usually the seller is paying the 3%, and that's what it usually costs for closing costs. So usually I ask for that in most of my contracts. So once we get a price, and once we ask and put in there for the 3% closing costs, then we submit. And I'm just, summarizing. Then we submit that offer to the sellers. They let us know. Let's say they take the offer. Boom. What we have, and everybody agrees to all terms, what we have is called a ratified contract.
Okay.
Take that ratified contract. I send it to the lender. Then I send it to the title company. Okay, title company, they want to make sure that there are no liens on the property and make sure everything is clear and free in order to transfer the deed and record the deed. Okay, after we have a ratified contract, the lender orders an appraisal. because the bottom line is we want to make sure that that house appraises for the
what
amount.
they're
If
Yep.
it does not, then they must lower the price. Okay, if they don't, back in the 2008s, they paid the difference. But I have not seen that in a long time. But I hear in some bidding wars that that's coming back a little bit. But the only good thing, yeah, exactly. But the only good thing is it's not the risky loans that we had before. And a lot of people got locked up because of the appraisal.
Oh,
and
yes,
the
most
coordinate.
indeed.
Yes, yeah. And so because of that, now you can't even dictate who the appraiser is. So it's a random system. Before you get your buddy.
Yeah, you get your buddy. There's this linkage. There's this networking thing going on.
So you can't do that now.
That's good.
So after that, they order the appraisal. What we do is we recommend a home inspection company. You want to find out everything that's wrong with the house. If it's a resale, there's going to be stuff wrong. But you want to look at the major stuff. And
roof, foundation, termites,
plumbing,
things like that. Plumbing,
electrical, everything.
all the stuff that's going to be big box.
Yeah, so we primarily use Dwayne Sewell with DMV Services. And not only does he does home inspection, he's a lead inspector. He's also a 203K, and we'll touch on that too, a 203K certified inspector too. So he goes through the house, or his company or any company goes through the house, they find out what's wrong, they do a report. Now for me, anything that he puts on that summary that's wrong with the house, I'm putting on the addendum because it's not up to us to say no. It's up to them to say no. And that is the key for me. I've never just said, okay, let's just do this, let's do that. No, I ask my clients, what's important to you?
But it's negotiable, you guys. So say, for example, the house needs a new roof. You can say, okay, I'll buy this house if you replace the roof or you knock down the price so that way I can save that money so I can replace the roof myself. So things are negotiable. Nothing's ever really set in concrete with buying a house. Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
It's more sellers because inventory is low. You know, so it's more of a seller's market. And to get back to your point, with something with a roof or something like that, what I was saying earlier is a 203K loan is a construction loan. Okay, so with that, what happens is that I actually bought a house a year and a half ago and used a 203K loan. So I found a house at X amount of price, got it, but it had sat for 3.5 years. So what did I do? I used a 203K loan and spent X amount of dollars to gut the house out.
So it's kind of like a rehab.
Rehab, yes, a rehab loan, correct. And those are beneficial too, but those are for people who can have vision. Some people don't have vision. They see, if they see a sock in the couch, oh, I can't take this. You know, but it varies, and you have to know your client. Real estate isn't just about the paperwork; it's getting to know your client. I think a lot of people take the interpersonal communication out, and you just need to listen and be involved with your client.
Back to that personal skills, that people person. So you guys, if you need to work on that, read something like How to Win Friends and Influence People, or something that's going to get you, because business is a form of communicating with each other, getting your point across, pitching your things. It's all relationships.
It's all relationships.
So you have to get at least better. I would say fake it till you make it, but people can read through that.
Yes, exactly. So after that, once we submit that, everything works out. Then the title company pretty much takes over. It's between the title company and the lender. So they pretty much take over until the closing part. Before, 3 days beforehand, they have to get what's called a CD, which is a closing document. Okay, and what it does is itemizes all their costs and what they have to bring to the table.
Okay.
So 3 days after they sign that and they agree to it, then we go to the table. I usually have some bottles of wine and some food, and it's a big thing, and because of that, we want to make sure because it's experience. We at Century 21 Envision, we want to make it an experience, not a transaction. So that's the difference.
That's awesome, because I'm always down for some wine.
Yeah, me too. We talked about that.
My brother, I know. We was like, okay, this is some Paul Masson.
Yes, absolutely.
That's not wine. That's a little bit stronger.
But I know when you want to go to sleep, you want to drink that wine.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to find you, how would they go about doing that?
Well, they can go to c21envision.net. Okay, we also are on Facebook and Instagram and what else? LinkedIn. Just Google us and you can find us. My marketing person's here, and I know she's upset that I don't know. Yes, but we'll deal with that later.
But you guys, also as well, I always put links on the bottom of the post, so I'll be tagging Reggie and the thing. So if you want to find him, all you have to do is click the link. I'll put the information, so no worries.
Right. Well, I just want to say too that we at Century 21 Envision, we really cherish relationships, and we have started from the bottom and we're slowly moving up. And every relationship we treasure. I mean, everything doesn't always go well, but we try to do our best to make it as smooth as possible.
Absolutely, and that's all you can do, you guys. Always, always, always work on. And I was saying this in the car because I love to impart something to my daughter, who you guys saw was in the studio if you were watching the live. But you have to work on, giving more yourself than you expect to receive from somebody. Be of value to somebody else. Yeah. That's all that is about. And then when you really need help, people will always come to your rescue.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Always.
I tell my agents all the time, growth is uncomfortable. If everybody could do it, they would be doing it.
But it's mandatory if you want to get somewhere.
It's mandatory, and I tell them all the time, if you go in my office, I don't have my signs up, my name up, or anything, because I'm only as good as the people I'm around. And I have this saying, there's no I in team, but there's a we in us. And I tell them that they help make us. It's not about me. I'm just a figurehead. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here beside you, making me look good.
Hey, no, guess what? Being in a leadership role, though, is about how well you can serve your team. Exactly. It's not about you getting your team to serve you. You have to be the biggest. For example, Jesus washed feet, you guys.
And I was getting ready to preach. The leader serves.
Yes.
The leader that sits back, I question that. The one that serves, those are the ones that I'm attracted to. Those are the people I want to hang around. Those are the people I still do a lot of deals. Why? Because I want to be in the trenches with my agents. So I want to lead by example, not by talk. I want to be out there with them because I'm continuing to learn too. If I knew everything, nobody knows everything. So with that being said, I'm constantly learning because the field is constantly evolving. Yes. With that being said, I told my agents at a meeting, I said, well, in Africa, a man's wealth is judged by the size of his stomach. So right now, I'm real broke right now because my stomach is slim. So I said in another 3 years, I should be fat.
See, I'm trying to lose weight, y'all. So we won't go there.
Yeah. No, it's good. But no, I'm just a firm believer in work. And in work, it builds character. And everything. And you have to have self-control, you have to have self-discipline, and you have to have persistence. And that is the key to anybody in business, whether it's real estate, whether it's fitness, whether it's running a restaurant. That's what you have to have. And if somebody tells you you need to learn how to turn it off, then they're not in business because you never turn it off. It is a passion. It is a passion.
24/7. And matter of fact, if you're in business for yourself, you will work harder than if you have a job. That 9 to 5, you're done, you're free. If you're in business, you're always thinking, you're always answering calls, you're always typing up emails, you're always doing something.
Because you know what? You got skin in the game.
You got skin in the game.
Exactly.
And you're only as good as the team. So I'm always talking about networking and understanding who you have around you.
Yes.
And if you want to be the smartest person in the group, then you're in the wrong group because you have to have people around you that knows things that you don't, that can pull you up, that can get you better, and that can teach you some things. And then your job is to go back and teach somebody else. That's what it's always been about.
Yes, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. You got to do that. That's a must.
Always.
Yeah.
So you guys,
what you think?
We are out of time.
Are you serious?
I'm so
we had some
serious.
more time.
No.
Oh my goodness.
It goes so quick.
Oh my goodness. We were having fun.
Yeah, I know.
We gotta go eat now.
Always. Yeah. Well, yeah. My daughter is like, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm thirsty. So definitely, I will go feed this sick child.
Right. Yeah.
But you guys, I want you to understand the power that Get It Got It Good has and bringing in people, getting your questions answered.
Absolutely.
And it's on all different realms. So it's not always just about, when you hear the word wellness, it's not always about what you eat, how much you exercise. It's about enhancing your mind, enhancing your lifestyle, enhancing the quality of your lifestyle by getting the information that you need in all aspects of your life, and then making sure you understand where to go to get more, and then it's all good, right?
Absolutely.
All day.
Whoever has the information controls the situation.
Exactly. So go to school, get your knowledge, but the biggest thing you could do is apply that knowledge.
And I ask my kids, and I think this is very important. I don't ask them what they want to be when they grow up. I ask them what business they want to own. These tax codes are made for employers, not employees. But it doesn't matter what endeavor it is. But my endeavor just happens. My passion is real estate. So I would employ everybody. Educate yourself and be persistent at it.
I'm going to see how many people can answer this question on my IG or Facebook. What are the 4 ways to earn money? Just curious who I got listening and which one of you guys actually do homework to get better. So with that being said, I wanted to take a second to tell you guys about the Entrepreneurship School for the Artists. It's coming out. I just want to tag it each week because that is one of our sponsors. And what it is for the artists to learn how to be self-employed and in business for themselves and understand what they need to know when it comes to legal and networking and self-development and business planning and all the things you need to know in order to be successful. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, guys, I love you. Be an original because an original is always worth more than a copy. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Take care.